doing your pedicure.
All our blood vials.
They both are covered in moonspots. Got your daddy's hair. Got my samples with my paperwork and my payment right here. Hello and welcome to Sage and Stone Homestead. If you have not met me yet, my name is Heather. This is Tizzy, and today is dairy goat disease testing day. So we have a total of 31 goats on our farm right now. 8-ish of them are destined for the freezer, and we'll get into why that number is kind of questionable a little bit later in the video. But I'm submitting about 22 tests to the UBR lab today to test for things like CAE, CL, and Yonis. And we like to disease test our herd, even though we don't go to shows, we haven't yet, but maintaining a clean herd is very important to us. We do consume the raw milk of our animals, we do consume the meat of our animals, and there are some diseases that are zoonotic with dairy goats, and we just want to keep on top of testing them to ensure that we are maintaining a disease-free herd status that helps us know that we're consuming the cleanest milk possible and that we are selling clean animals to other people who have the same goals as us, who would like to consume the best quality clean milk that they can. So along with the disease test, I am also going to be giving all of the animals their copper. We're going to be giving selenium to the goats who are not pregnant or not going into the freezer, and we're also going to be doing a hoof trim. So it's kind of like a goat maintenance rodeo that's going on today. And the disease test itself only happens once a year. I like to do it in the month before we do our breeding so that I know if I've got anybody popping positive for anything, I'm not like continuing to spread it by putting different groups of goats together and potentially spreading things that way. So we just want all of our goats to be clean before we do our breeding, and that is coming up soon. Guys, I'm excited. So right now I'm just getting my milkers milked out. They will come back up onto the stand for me to do all the things later on, but yeah, that's what's going on today. I do have quite a few helpers coming. It's not necessarily required to have a team of people to help you in order to do this. The disease test that we do is pretty simple. I know that it can be daunting to think about drawing blood on your animals and submitting it to a lab. It sounds very expert. I was quite pleasantly surprised how easy it was and relatively inexpensive. It's not an inexpensive thing when you have a big herd like me, but if you have a smaller herd, that peace of mind is worth the cost and the effort. And I think that understanding how to do this kind of thing helps increase your confidence in your ability to care for your animals well, and I think that's a good thing. 75 pounds. Yeah. You did it, Megan.
There it is. Right?
Yeah.
Bingo.
Everyone's talking about how perfect that blood draw was. That's probably the 15th blood draw of the day. So they have not all gone that easy.
Come here. You're normally all up in everybody's blast.
They're not used to men, and they know we're doing something.
Let's go. Look, we're gonna be like it was the other day.
So I've got many capable helpers today. We got Megan here. Right now she's gonna do a blood draw. And it's a learning curve. I've done it for several years and I still needed to learn something new today. So Megan, show me what you guys showed me earlier about...
Okay, so when you're looking at the needle, you see the bevel, how it's lower right here in the front?
Yeah.
You want the taller part to be laying against them. It makes it a smoother transition in, less pain for them, and it's smoother and easier for everybody.
That's something I didn't know. I've just been sticking them willy-nilly, and that might have been part of my problem.
It's the same thing when you do any type of vaccine. If you make sure that needle is like that, there's less likely for the bumps. You'll still get them sometimes, but it does help.
So what do we do? We're trying to find her vein.
So you feel around, and I didn't do a good job shaving her, and you're looking for the vein, and crazy enough, they change locations in different goats.
Yeah, I can see it moving around.
Yeah, it's right there. You can see it up here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna lay that needle against it and slide in, and then pop it in.
So what we're using today are called vacutainers, and this tube has a vacuum in it. So when she pushes the needle in, it automatically sucks the blood in. She's like, you're abused. I know, are you being abused? You are. He's doing your pedicure. So I am not giving selenium to my does that are pregnant. These two are. Winnie's right here, and then Margie's here. Margie's got twins, Winnie's got a single. I just don't do the selenium because the bottle suggests not to do it in pregnant sheep. I just worry about the selenium after they have their kids. Which, look at her. Woo, girl.
So with the vacuum tubes, if you stick it on there and lose the vacuum, one way to save them is to grab a syringe and a needle and you pull it out and then you insert the blood in it. And that's how you can kind of save some of the tubes if you busted the vacuum on them. Nice and spongy. Don't be difficult, ma'am.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Perfect.
Yes, 6. Hold that. That is his blood. And I haven't labeled it yet, so I don't want to lose it.
So all of our blood vials are in here. They have been in the refrigerator. They're supposed to be upright for about an hour before you refrigerate them, and I think that's just so the blood can kind of coagulate on its own in a nice lump in the bottom of the tube. We're going to get to organizing all of this in just a second, but I wanted to acknowledge that you'll see a lot of people often on my videos kind of running around my farm without booties. And if I'm worried about biosecurity, why wouldn't I have people cover their shoes? Some people do cover their shoes. Right now we are going through a heat wave and it feels like temperature is 108, and big boots don't fit in like the breathable kind of fabric booties that I have, and so we elected just to put chlorhexidine on everybody's shoes so everything was fine. That's what I do most often. We have family with livestock and friends with livestock, and when anybody comes over, everyone gets chlorhexidine sprayed in the bottom of their shoes, and that's kind of how we take care of biosecurity here. And then everybody, when they leave, they've got their own protocols. Like Corey, he's going to pack his boots in a bag and take off his clothes when he gets home, wash them, take a shower, that kind of thing. So no worries there. Everybody is secure and clean, and now we need to fill out our paperwork. So as I mentioned kind of briefly before, I use UBRL labs. They are in California, and our blood samples are going to go through the mail. There are a couple different labs that you can use for a biosecurity screen. That's what we're going to submit for the goats today. And your vet may also be able to run disease tests. I will say, when I took Elsa and Clover up to the vet for their, it's called a CVI, their certified veterinary inspection for them to cross state lines, I decided I'll just let the vet draw their blood even though I can do it because we're already there and they can do the biosecurity testing. I think just the CL test, just CL for the two goats was $40, and that didn't include the Yonis and the CAE, so it can be a lot more expensive to use a vet, so just keep that in mind when you're trying to weigh out your options with this kind of thing. Now, I did have to pay for the tubes. There's kits and things, and I'll make sure to link them down below. This particular company, I love them because they have like flow diagrams and submission form and everything is on their website. They make it very, very easy to get everything that you need in order to test and to submit. So you notice that we have right here, we've got contact information for me. I'll fill this out later, and then up here where they can email my results to, and all down here we've got our list of goats and the different tests that we can get, and we're going to get Yonis, CL, and CAE, and then there's a whole second page where we can list all the other animals that we have, and we'll be packing this with our sample and sending it in. Now, one of the things that I have to do is label each tube corresponding with the number where I'm going to write their name. This hasn't been filled out yet. All we've done is write the goats' names on the tube. This one is Tizzy. So Tizzy's going to be our number 1. You can kind of see the blood jello that's in there. That's good. That's what we want. And I am going to write a 1 on the vial and circle it. Don't worry if it's not perfect, okay? They can figure it out. I'm just going to set this over here and write Tizzy next to the number 1. There you go. So this is just a little bit of redundancy to help make sure things don't get mixed up. So the first vial, which is marked number 1, is the goat named Tizzy, and these are the tests that we're asking for. I wanted to note something too. Sometimes when you've got helpers, or even if you don't, you may spell something wrong on your tube. What I would do, just for the ease of the lab and don't cause confusion for them, spell it like it is on the tube. You know who it is. Melee has 1 L. I'm gonna write 2 just so things match up. It's totally fine. We know which goat this is. Okay, now my paperwork is all filled out, and all of the requests for tests that I have, plus the names that are on here, match the blood from the animal in the corresponding tube. The kit that I bought from UBRL does have this biohazard specimen bag. You can probably buy these separately. I don't know that it's necessary that you have this exact thing. I feel like I have shipped in samples before and just put it in a regular Ziploc bag. You maybe could write biohazard on it. We will be writing on the outside of the box that we have animal specimens inside the box so that they can travel through the mail system in the correct way. But we are going to be putting our samples in here. I have 25 vials. I think I said we had 22. 25 vials. And they would like you to bundle them in bundles that are no greater than 10 vials each. So I've got my rubber bands, and I'm going to grab this back row here, put them together. Got 10 vials there. Secure with a rubber band. Got some paper towel here just to help cushion them a little bit. We are going to be adding some bubble wrap, etc. to the box. So there's 1. And then my last bundle only has 5, and this is fine. Now in the back of this particular specimen bag, there is a little pouch to put your paperwork. I will say that this is nice, but it's not expressly required. If you just fold this up and stick this in the box, they will find it. So I am not entirely sure how long these can remain in the fridge before they are shipped. I will figure that out and put that in the words down below. Normally we pull on Saturday, ship on Monday. The lab receives our specimens on Thursday, which is their testing day, and they get in the test group and we get our results back on Friday. So it's actually a very quick process. Hey, sweet girl. So our Molly is part of the disease test group, and so by this Friday we'll get the results back and she'll be able to join the herd. I know we're all looking forward to that. Don't touch that fence, sweet girl. I have been milking her for about a week, and I do like what I see, but I am going to just dry her off so that everything she eats can go into giving her a little bit more body condition so that she's ready to go for breeding this fall. I am going to stick her with our Bella Rosa Estates Mooch. I think that's going to be a good pairing. Now, before anybody gets too attached, these are some freezer boys, but let me explain them and why it's good for another buck in our herd. So my friend Megan, she came to help us disease test. As you saw, these bucklings were born on her farm this spring, and she tried very hard to sell them, and they wouldn't sell, even though they're so dang pretty. They're both so cute. They both are covered in moon spots and polled. This one has blue eyes, and he's a real pretty like gray color. Can you see him? But unfortunately, sometimes this is what happens. Babies are born and you can't find places for them, and not everybody likes eating goat meat, but we do, and they know that we do. So these guys are going to be going in the freezer maybe this fall. They are a little bit small, but that's okay. The dress out rate on a dairy goat isn't as good as something like a rabbit. So with rabbits, when we butcher those, you get about half of the live weight back in meat and bones. It's bone-in meat, the hanging weight. With the dairy goats, it's about 30%. So let's say they each weigh 30 pounds. It'd be about 10 pounds worth of meat, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when all they're doing is taking money out of your pocket in the form of feed, and they can give you, your family, a meal or two, it's a good use for an unwanted animal. So Megan does want to keep their hides, so we'll be giving her their hides. I think she's planning on doing an egg tan with those, but we did go ahead and band them, and they're just super small. And so I stuck them in here. That's why I put this board up here, so they can't exactly get nose to nose with the girls, but they can have space to run around in here. And then eventually what I've decided I'm going to do is actually take this electric netting away from Molly when she's done with it and kind of connect it up over here, so I can let the boys clean up back here for me. Because that right there, that's the door to their stall. I think that works out well. Oh, are you piggies getting muddy? Hi. You guys are handling the heat okay. It's that wallow, huh? I'm gonna wash my fingers with you. I don't trust you. Shake and bake are a little bit scary. I was trying to come visit you. Can you let me in? Can you let me in? Oh goodness, maybe not. Oh Bear, you've got your daddy's hair. Let's give it a curl, see if we can do it. Now we're gonna see if we can do it. Not quite, you've got more of a center part than your daddy. I know, Gollum, is he too much? Hi, I didn't bring treats for you, no. No. These boys are determined for me to stink as bad as them. So one of the good things about us getting some more meat animals here, it means that I can actually switch things up a little bit. So we have, let's see, he's right at my feet. We have this little buckling, Bear. And Bear is out of Feral and Tizzy. Tizzy is that doe that we had on the milk stand first thing in this video. And her udder, when she was in labor with Bear and his twin brother named Teddy, her udder looked awesome. It was nice and high. It looked like one of the best udders that I've seen on one of my first fresheners probably ever. It made me really happy to see it. But when it came down to it and we sold Teddy, and then I took Tizzy down into once a day milking, that just took her potential volume for her milk capacity down a little bit. And when you do that, a lot of times when it comes to capacity, you'll visually lose the capacity in the higher part of the udder. You guys are too much. I was trying to talk out here with you, but maybe I can't. Anyway, Tizzy makes a lot of milk. Really, she's the one putting the most milk in the pail right now. That's awesome. I love that about her. She's got a beautiful udder that I love milking. I just am a little bit concerned that the milk that I am getting, it looks like it's lower down in her udder, and that made me not really want to keep Bear as a buck. So I had been going back and forth on whether or not I was going to keep Bear around. I had decided, okay, I think I'll stick you in the freezer, and if we want to keep a buck out of Tizzy and Feral later, I guess we can. But those two little bucklings gave me the excuse to hang on to him. I'm not going to use Bear this fall for spring kids. I still just kind of want to see what his mom's udder does. I just didn't want to have any regrets getting rid of him prematurely before I could really tell what his mama's udder is all about. There's a lot that can change freshening to freshening, especially those first 3 freshens. I feel like they really haven't grown into their body and into their capacity until about the 3rd freshen, and so we can hang on to him for at least another year and maybe get to use him next fall. I know this is not the favorite topic of everyone, and we all wish that all the babies born that could potentially sell out of our herd do sell. But sometimes you just can't give them away, and it's a fact of life. So I encourage you, if you haven't considered the possibility of using your excess bucklings or your unwanted bucklings for freezer animals, that you just at least open your mind up to it. Understand that goat meat is absolutely delicious, and they are an animal that's actually very easy to process at home. We do have a full comprehensive video, start to finish, how to, hoof to freezer, on butchering dairy goats at home. Right now it is behind a little bit of a paywall, being that it is just a members only video of ours. So if you become a member of the channel, you get access to that video as well as a whole bunch of other perks. There's a join link in the description box below, as well as a join button under this video if that interests you. And even if that topic doesn't interest you, we do go live for the members during our goat births. I've got a camera up here in the barn and we look down over the kidding stall, and it's a fun time. This year we are going to do kidding season bingo, and I'm really excited. But yeah, that's just one of the many fun members perks. All right, so right out the gate, this box and whole cooler situation on the inside really is overkill. My friend Corey brought these to me, and so I'm just gonna use them because I have them. Ideally, what you wanna do is pack your samples in as small a box as possible. That's gonna fit an ice pack and some bubble wrap to kind of cushion things, but you don't want a lot of space where your sample isn't gonna stay cool. The ice pack will just kind of dissipate into the air and not necessarily keep the samples cool. But we don't really have that problem because of this cooler pack here. So I've got a couple ice packs down in the bottom. Ooh, yeah, it's nice and cool coming out there right now. I've got my samples with my paperwork and my payment right here. As far as pricing goes, it is $23 per goat for the biosecurity screen. If you have less than 4 samples going, there is a $10 setup fee, but that's only if you have less than 4 and it's only 1 setup fee. I've been saving bubble wrap from different things that we've gotten in the mail, and some bubble wrap was recently given to me. These are actually perfect. It's like a pocket of bubble wrap. Now I don't want to insulate it from the ice pack too much, but I also don't want it touching so that my samples freeze. Put it right in there. Okay, so I've got my label on here. It's headed to Fresno, California. And ideally it can get there within 3 to 5 days, especially if you're doing the biosecurity screen. For something like if you're just sending in a pregnancy test, they say that can go regular mail, but I've got this on UPS second day air, so it should arrive for them in plenty of time for us to get our test results this Friday. Oh, and make sure you write on the box, exempt animal specimen. I imagine when it goes through the system, maybe they look inside or something, but and they see blood vials, this helps them know that it's okay for us to be sending that, I guess. So I'm sure some of you have already done the math. It was $575, the check that I included to get our disease testing done, and that didn't include the price of the vials. The vials aren't too bad. It was about $65 for 100 of them. It came with the double-sided needles and the little, there's like a little plastic housing that the vials pop into. It came with all of that, and then of course there's the shipping. So it's not cheap. My herd is big. Now let's say I needed to split that up and test half my herd one part of the year and half my herd the other part of the year. As long as everyone is tested within a year, that's really where my preference is at. It really doesn't matter if they're all tested at the same time. So when I think about managing my dairy goat herd and getting out of them what I need, the cost of testing them is part of that. So that's why I sell kids. We do like to eat goat meat, as we've talked about, but I do also need to sell some so that I can pay for things like this disease test. Now, our goats aren't as expensive as some, so the cost of our disease test is about 1 litter of goats, twins or triplets, kind of depending on who they are and different qualities about them, things like that. But you know, they pay for themselves. They do. They can be expensive, but goats have a lot of value. If you have not seen my cost breakdown of dairy goats, I filmed it a few years ago, but I'm gonna stick it up here for you for your viewing pleasure.
Bingo.
That's good lighting too, right there.
That was really good.
Thank you. Cut out the first blood draw and just show that one, because that one was perfect.
I mean, it popped out and had
Yeah.
a perfect. Did it?